Hi, everybody. This is Coach Allison back. Got Defy Aging week 17, I believe. This week there are two circuits. They're going to be running simultaneously, depending on the size of your group. There's 4 exercises in each circuit. So if your group is 4 people or less, you'll probably do only have one circuit running at once or at a time. But if you're larger than 4 people, both circuits are going to be running simultaneously. Pardon me. There's going to be 3 rounds of these, and each round is timed a little bit differently. Round 1 is 30 seconds on, 20 seconds off. Round 2 is 30 on, 30 off, and round 3 is 30 on, 40 off. So as the circuit or as the session progresses, your work to rest time is going to change. You get more rest. Alrighty, so we do have a total of 8 exercises. Let's run through what those are. Okay, exercise 1 is a resisted single leg high knee. We're going to be using these mini bands. The trickiest part is actually before you even start, just getting kind of set up for it. So the easiest way, you want to get these around your feet. I like to just keep my heel on the floor, so you don't have to pick up your whole foot. Keep your heel on the floor because we only need them around the base of the foot. See how this is where we need them. So put one foot and then can lift the heel off the floor on the other side and get it around the base of the foot here. So you really never have to pick your foot off the floor while putting it on. And then from here, it's a stationary high knee like so. Okay, it's a little different getting used to it. So if you feel a little unsteady, I'm going to have the coaches put the station near a wall or a rack so you do have something nearby to hold on while you're kind of getting used to the feel of this. Okay, but the resistance, the band is creating the resistance, hence the resisted single leg high knee. You're going to do halfway through the set, you're going to change legs. So you don't have to do any switching with the band. All you do is simply put the foot that was lifting up, put that on the floor and start lifting up your other leg. So it's a very easy transition from one leg to the other. Next exercise, half kneel goblet rotation. I'll double check. Yes, the name of that. So we're going to use a kettlebell here. The kettlebells, some of the clubs, the lightest kettlebell is an 18 or a 15 pounds. So if you want to go lighter than that, you could definitely do this with a dumbbell too. You would hold the dumbbell on its ends like this, just FYI. We're going to be in our half kneel position, which we do quite often. Sit up tall and straight. You want a 90-degree bend in both knees, so make sure this front knee isn't less than 90 and it's also not more than 90. Okay, hold the kettlebell at the chest, but not against the body. And we do the whole torso is going to rotate. So everything from the hips up is going to twist in the direction of that leg that's up. So my left leg is up. I'm twisting to my left, letting my head and shoulders go as well. And you're only coming back to center. So I'm not twisting the other way too. So just my torso, shoulders, and head coming back to center. Halfway through the set, we'll switch legs, and now of course twisting the other direction. Okay, to keep you off the floor, I'm going to turn this into a seated lunge position, and I'll show you what that looks like. So for a seated option for this exercise, what you do is you have a bench and you sit like, see how my butt is kind of off to one side, and I'm letting this leg kind of drape down and back. So you can see how it's very similar to a half kneel, right? So this is kind of draped off to the side and going back. And now I'm going to do my twist like this over that. Again, it would be over that front leg. And you have to use a lot of core to stabilize because that side that was kind of draped off the side is still trying to pull me down. So I'm having to use a lot of core to stabilize. So that's going to be the option to keep you off of the knees or off of the floor. Medicine ball overhead toss. All right. We got our medicine ball, of course, pick the weight that's appropriate for you. Overhand toss. So see how my hand is like overhand like this, not under the ball. This would be an underhand. Okay. So you're kind of gazing slightly upward. The ball starts at your chest. We're going to do a little bend in the knees, not remotely a squat. So we're not going into a full squat. And little bend in the knees to kind of get a little momentum. Push it up. And now as you catch it, you're not simply catching it up here and the knees are locked in. As I catch it, I'm going to do a little cushioning with my knees. And that already gets you down into that bent knee position again. So just watch this all in motion. Cushioning the knee, the catch. And that gets you right into that bent knee position to act as the momentum to go right into that toss again. A lot of shoulder. You're going to feel that fatigue pretty quickly. Hand-eye coordination. The first few tosses, it might kind of go forward. It's okay if it goes forward and it falls to the floor. It takes a little bit of practice to get it going straight up and down. So that's our medicine ball overhead toss. Marching hip bridge. All right, you're laying flat on your back. Okay, feet are flat on the floor. Going to drive the shoulder blades down into the floor. Turn those palms up, that helps. Lift the hips as high as they can go. And from here, we're going to march those knees into the chest, keeping that butt off the floor at all times. Marching hip bridge. We're not going for speed here. We're going for control. Keep the foot that's on the floor. Oh, my hat. The foot that's on the floor. Keep it pressed flat into the floor. And for the option of no floor, we're going to do a single leg reach. Now, this one's a lot of balance. So it's okay to do this one near a wall or a rack because you'll have a free hand you can hold on to the wall with. Single leg reach. So for this one, you would switch legs halfway through the set. Going to balance on one leg. So I'm going to use my left leg. And with the opposite hand, we're going to reach for the floor. And notice how my other leg is extending back. Okay, so balancing on this leg, keep your back nice and flat so we're not rounding down like this. My back is nice and flat, keeping a soft bend in my knee, and you're hinging at your hip. So if this is the option you're going with for this station, you're going to do half the time on one side, switch legs, half the time on the other side. You don't have to touch the floor. You're reaching for the floor. So it's okay you don't want to get so low that you're touching the floor. Again, you just notice me kind of tipping around. So definitely do this one near a wall or a rack to place your free hand on for some balance assistance. All right, the first station for circuit B, band low row. So low row is first to, it's anchored low. So it's coming from a low angle. I'm going to be sort of pulling up as opposed to typically it's kind of at chest height. So it's a low row. Okay, I'm going to be coming in sort of 45-degree forward bend. Okay, so notice, so I'm not just like leaning forward like this or kind of slouching, but instead soften those knees, pop the butt back, and your back is staying nice and flat. Step back so there's a little bit of resistance. Keep the palms turned in. And I'm pulling my hands kind of towards my hip here, not up towards the chest or towards the armpits. And in doing that, I'm able to keep a lot of space between my shoulders and my ears. So I'm lengthening the neck, pulling my elbows, keeping them tight into my rib cage, kind of pulling my shoulder blades together nice and tight behind me. Okay, so I'm keeping, again, a nice tall neck right here, not shrugging. That's our band low row. Stability ball chest press. This one's a little tricksy if it's newer for you, because you have to have your weights and the ball. Your coach can help you if it's newer for you. So grab your weights in your hand first, then sit on the stability ball, okay? Then you're gonna crawl out. Okay, and you wanna stop when your head and shoulders are on the ball. So you don't wanna stop here where your head's not supported. Maybe I'm not at the best angle. So my head's not supported here, so I'm gonna go a little farther. That feels nice, because you don't wanna strain your neck. And then I'm using the strength of my legs to keep my butt up, so you don't wanna let your hips sink down here. Okay, so a lot going on here just with the position itself. And then I'm going to do a chest press. Nice and slow. Same thing we do when we're on the floor, but there's just a lot more going on. So when you're done with this, you can either keep the weights in tight and start to roll up the same way you got back down, got down in the first place, or when you're down, when you're here, you can kind of let your hips sink and kind of toss those weights down first and then sit up. Whatever you're more comfortable with. Like I said, there's a lot going on. So if the stability ball is new for you, your coach will kind of help get you in and out of that position. That is the stability ball press. Next exercise is jump squats. Oh boy. So it's the beauty of a squat plus more. Okay, everyone that's been with us for a while knows a standard squat. Sink those feet or hip width apart. Sink those hips down and back. So not just down, because that's just this, but the back is very important because we don't want those knees to protrude forward. So yeah, you get a little bit of forward lean. Want to make sure it's not excessive forward lean like this, right? This is not a squat. So bend those knees, pop the butt back, keep your back flat, watch out for rounded backs. So you got all that in, right? But now we want to come up with enough momentum and power to lift those feet off the floor. Now, I'm not asking you to jump up and touch the ceiling. I'm asking you to try to get off the floor just enough to slide a sheet of paper underneath your feet. Okay? So, watch me do a few. Think you could slide a little sheet of paper under my feet? Now, what's very important is that watch my landing. When my feet hit the floor, my knees are going right into the next knee bend. So they're cushioning that landing. What you want to avoid is landing like this and kind of jarring the knees and stopping first. Not only for the safety of the knees, but that's going to give your muscles the reaction that we want as well. So anywho, you can, another option is a fast squat. So we want speed, but we take out the jump. That's for anyone that can't have the impact. So it takes that impact away from the knees, the low back, the ankles, anything where you need to remove the impact, right? So we're adding speed, but no jumps. Now, if you're doing the fast squats instead of the jumps, just be very careful that you don't kind of take that and run with it. No pun intended. I guess that wouldn't be a pun because we're not running, we're jumping. Don't go crazy. So I'm doing a fast squat, but I'm not going crazy with it, right? Because I don't want your head to be bopping up and down. I don't want you to be doing too much leaning. So fast just means faster than a normal squat. So that is our jump squat station. The last station for circuit B is a core exercise. It's a V sit hold. We're going to do an assisted V sit hold. The assisted component is yourself. You're assisting yourself. So you're on your butt. Okay, you're flexing your feet, so you're pulling your toes up, and your heels are resting on the floor gently. And you are kind of holding behind your knees a little bit. You're going to lean back. So you start just sitting up normally, and start to lean back. You're not holding I can't show you this because you can't see what I'm feeling, so I'm just explaining it as best I can. You're not holding on for dear life. It's just a little bit of assistance here. You're leaning back until it feels like that core is engaged so much that you might even start trembling a little in the abs, and you can tell that's as far as you can lean until you would fall backwards. Okay, so for me, it's about right here. Breathing. Okay, so from the side, we want to keep a nice straight back, so we don't want a rounded back. So before you start leaning back, find your posture first, then start leaning. Keep your neck nice and tall. We're not shrugging the shoulders. Breathe. And that's our V-sit hold. Okay? So you're gonna feel the low back. So I want to try to explain as quickly as I can without taking too much time the difference between feeling the lower back and feeling the fatigue versus pain. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's pain, right? So when you work your abs, almost always, you're also simultaneously working your low back. Like when you do a plank, I'm sure many of you feel the back as well when you're doing a traditional plank. So yes, when you do a V-sit, you're gonna feel the low back getting tired, getting a little strained, feeling fatigue. Now, if you're doing this and there's any sharp pains, anything that you feel something, slip, that might not be the best word because that probably wouldn't happen with the V-sit, but anything that just feels like painful, that doesn't feel right, that's a different story. That shouldn't happen in a V-sit. But, if you're holding this after 10, 15, 20 seconds, you feel a little heat, a little fatigue in that low back. That's extremely normal. That is your muscles telling you that they're working. So since this is a V-sit hold, I have never put in Defy before after doing this for 7 years, I believe. So I know none of you have done it with us. You might have done it on your own. So I wanted to explain that since it's a new movement for us. So again, if you're feeling that low back and you're feeling like, oh, I'm feeling that, like it's getting tired, it's feeling like it's warm, that's just feeling the muscles work. But if for any reason it's making you uncomfortable, like in a way that you are nervous about it, stop, let your coach know. We can give you an alternative. But again, feeling the muscles working and feeling fatigue is different than pain. So I just wanted to point that out. But try this V-sit and see what you think, having this new core exercise added into our programming. The team builder is going to be sort of, everyone's doing their own thing, but everyone's doing it together, if that makes sense. So everyone's going to have a band. You're going to step on it. You're going to run through 2 sets of this. You're going to do 12 bicep curls. Okay, everyone knows bicep curls. Arms stay in nice and tight, up and down with the arms. And then you're going to go over, so you might be having to, everyone be running around the gym, wherever you can hook this up. Might be anchored up high. It might be here at our chest level racks, because you can do this with both different settings, both different, whatever. Keep your elbows in tight, palms facing down, press down and back, down and back, down and back. I'll show you from the side. It would look like this from the side, down and back, down and back. That's working your triceps. It's called a tricep push down. Again, that works from if it's up high too. If it's up high too, they'd be anchored up here. Same exact movement, doesn't matter. If it's hooked, it just has to be hooked up somewhere from like shoulder height or higher. Can't be down low. So you have to take it off of there, go back to under the feet for the curls. Put it anyway, because we're doing 2 sets of this. So do your bicep curls, tricep push downs, 12 each. Do it again. That's our team builder. And we're just going to burn out those arms this week for our team builder. Okay, everybody, that's our week 17 Defy Aging. I hope you enjoy some of our newer exercises, and see you next week.